Hola, 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 beautiful souls, mujeres hermosas. ¿Cómo están? How are you? Welcome back to another episode of Mujer de Éxito Unbounded, Woman of Success Without Limits. I am your host, MartiAngel, and I just want to say welcome to this podcast where we break barriers, challenge the status quo, and build our future and learn to rock our business so that we can rock six figures. And remember, if you're thinking about joining a community, think about joining the Rock Your Biz community. Remember that juntas podemos más. Okay, so if you're just joining me now on the Coach MartiAngel YouTube channel, gracias por estar aquí. My name is MartiAngel, and I am your host of the Mujer de Éxito Unbounded. If you're watching me on the Coach MartiAngel YouTube channel, remember to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss an episode. And if you like what I say, make sure to share it out. Ahora, hermosas, we are diving into something that honestly transformed not just my business, but back in the day, my career and my entire life. And I am still learning how to be this. What am I talking about? I am talking about how to be a servant leader and why. Today in 2025, it is even more critical that you learn how to be a servant leader and why the true heart of leadership isn't about leading from the front, but it is leading from the heart and leading from within your community, right? It's just so important for you. I want you to imagine this. Let me take you on a little imaginary trip. Close your eyes for a second. Think about the best leader that you have ever had in your life. And it can be even the leader that was leading you to hopscotch when you were little. But think about the leader, someone who made you feel seen, heard, and valued. Because mujeres hermosas chulas, unless you are heard, seen, and valued, you are not going to want to come back. And if you're fragile at that point in time, they may actually just smash you. So maybe think about it. Maybe it was a teacher, a mentor, your mother, or even a friend. Think about it. Servant leader. When I say servant leader, who comes to mind? Right? For me, when I think about that, I think about my abuelita. Mi abuelita chula, hermosa. She was so little but so cute. My abuelita means my grandmother. She was my maternal grandmother. And she did not have a fancy title. She wasn't a CEO. She wasn't a college graduate. But she had something no amount of schooling could teach. Something that today, in 2025, here in the United States, we really need. And what is that? Corazón, heart. She had corazón. She had heart. I remember being a little niña watching her organize food drives, helping vecinos with rides to work, or even taking in kids who didn't have a safe place to stay, and she never asked for anything in return. Never, nunca. Her leadership, my friends, hermosas chulas, was rooted in service. One day I remember, and here's the story. One day I remember walking into the kitchen as my grandmother was cutting the cebolla, the onion, getting ready to make dinner. And then I looked at her and I said, Grandma, what makes you a good leader? Because I could see that she was always leading. And I've always been interested in leadership. And I just asked her, Grandma, what makes you a good leader? And in her quiet way, in her quiet power, and in her very warm love, I remember her answering me, and it left an impact on me so deep that I carry it with me today, every single day. And today, most especially, interestingly enough, that I am talking about my abuelita, because she had a massive story. She had a massive story. And at the end, it was a horrible death. She died. I hope she didn't have any pain, but she was murdered in her bed. What, Marty? Yep, that's true. She was murdered in her bed on August 30th, 1983. So every day, going back to today, every day I show up for you, my clientas, my clients, and for my comunidad, for my community of women of color and Latina entrepreneurs, seasoned or non-seasoned, that amigas chulas hermosas is the true heart of leadership. It's about heart, corazón. It's not about standing above others, looking down and pointing your finger down, or seeing how much hurt or fear you can cause so that people follow you because of fear, or that people are afraid to speak up because they're fearful of you. It's not about that. Being a servant leader is about standing beside them, locking arms and saying, juntas podemos más. Together we can achieve more. It's about lifting others higher than they could lift themselves. So what exactly is servant leadership, Marty? Well, at the core, servant leadership flips the script that we were taught, especially the script that says, I am here to lead. This script now says, I am here to serve first. I am here to empower you. I am here to listen, not just bark orders or to speak. Those things are what make a servant leader. Remember to ask yourself, how can I serve? I ask the Lord Jesus I ask the Creator for guidance. Creator, give me guidance today on how I can serve you and the healing of the world. I ask that every day. Show me. And in that show, and in that voice, make it louder than the voice of my enemies. That's my prayer. Because I know that I'm here to serve first. I'm here to empower you, the mujerpreneur. I'm here to listen in my community. I listen to you. I don't just speak, I listen. And when you lead from this place, from the place of corazón, right? Mujeres hermosas, chulas, magic happens. Magic happens. You don't just build followers. You, as a servant leader, build more leaders. You don't just get compliance because, a leader that barks orders at you, or the leader that tries to lead with fear, or the leader that tries to lead because they've got something on you, they're not getting loyalty. They're getting compliance. You've got to earn loyalty. It's not something that can be given away, right? So as a leader, being a servant leader, you've got to earn loyalty. And let's be real. Loyalty, which is very much igual a confianza, is priceless. Priceless. Now, let me just kind of give you a quick note, hermosa. If you're ready to dive deeper into leading with service and purpose, I have some free leadership resources waiting for you on my *store, so you can check it out after today's episode. If you're watching me on the Coach MartiAngel YouTube channel, you can find it in the description. If you're listening to me wherever you listen to your favorite shows, you can find it in the show notes. And if you are watching me right now, still with me on the Coach MartiAngel YouTube channel, gracias por estar aquí. Now, let me ask you this. Why does this matter so much in 2025? Because we are living in a world that is tired of fake leadership. We are living in a world that wants to feel seen, heard, that wants to feel cared for. We're tired of leaders who want to look good, not just do good, right? There's a lot of influencers out there, and all they do is, hey, I made this much, and I made this much, and because I made that much, come follow me, and because I made this much, come follow me. Well, we're tired of those leaders because those leaders are not servant leaders. Those leaders are show-off leaders, right? Gente, people are craving authenticity in 2025. They're craving connection. And you, yes, tú, you have the power to be that leader. You don't need a title. My abuela, my grandma, she did not have a title. And you don't need permission to be nice. You don't need permission to be kind. You don't need permission to go out of your way to make somebody else feel good. All you need is the decision to put others first, to ask yourself, how can I be of service to you today? And one of the things I want to share with you is that we need to learn how to be of service to ourselves, because you can't go out there and be a servant leader if you are operating at a deficit, an emotional deficit, a spiritual deficit. You cannot lead without being in that place and being a servant leader to yourself. And if you're leading a team like I did when I was a principal, or as a network marketer, or as a coach, studies show that teams led by servant leaders are more loyal, more effective, more productive, and more innovative. But honestly, beyond the stats, it's about what it feels like to be led with love instead of fear. It does not feel good to be led by fear. Fear doesn't even feel good. If you feel it in your body, it doesn't feel good. But leading by love, well, my friends, hermosas, chulas, it's unforgettable. It's transformational. So now you ask me, okay, Marty, great. So how can I start to be a servant leader? Or how can I start to embody the heart of a true leader today? So let me share. You came to the right place. Let me share, because you know me, I'm the educator, right? Let me share a few simple steps that you can do today to become that servant leader, to transform and to be successful as a servant leader, right? So first, ask before you tell. Before you give direction, ask for input. Because why? Because questions build trust, but demands break that trust. If you don't listen, you're going to be a demanding leader, and no one's going to trust you. They may comply, but they're not going to trust you. Second, elevate somebody else's voice every single day. That's something I want you to practice. That's a practice, to elevate somebody else's voice. Okay, what does that look like in social media? In social media, that might mean sharing somebody else's story and writing a little comment on there like, hey, this story moved me today. Maybe you go check it out. Because that's elevating somebody else's voice. And if you do that every day, I promise you, your email list is going to grow big. Celebrate others publicly. Give credit away freely. So important. Let let me just repeat those two. Celebrate others publicly and give credit away freely. You know, giving credit away doesn't take anything away from you. And that is the secret that servant leaders understand, know, and live by. Third, stay curious, not controlling. Let me repeat that. Stay curious, not controlling. Trust doesn't grow under pressure. If you pressure somebody, your trust, you're actually whittling away at the trust that person might have in you. Right? But trust grows in freedom. Let me repeat that. Trust grows in freedom. So if you give people the freedom to make decisions, the freedom to make mistakes, they're going to trust you more. And finally, reflect daily. Every night, you know that I'm a big proponent on self-coaching, right? And I teach you how to be your own coach so you don't have to go spend gigantic amounts of money for some hotshot coach that made it in 2023 or during COVID when everything was shut down and we had no other option but to watch the, YouTube and the social media platforms. But here's what I want you to do instead. I want you to ask yourself, who did I serve today? And put a name down. And then put your pen down and just reflect and feel how good it feels to be of service. And if the answer isn't clear, decide how you're going to show up stronger mañana, tomorrow. It's so important. Because amiga, chulas, hermosas, anyone can manage, but not everyone can lead, especially not with heart. It takes courage to lead that way. When there are leaders out there leading with fear, leading with, I want to say demands, leading with threats, those are what I call weenies. Those are leaders with weenies or weenie leaders, whatever, Weenie meaning small. It takes humility to lead with the heart. It takes commitment because it's harder to lead with your heart than it is to lead with your head. And yes, it takes a whole lot of corazón. I promise you it does. So when you're leading, ask yourself, who am I serving today? How did I serve that person? How can I be of service today? There's a prayer that I usually say, and it's like, Dear Lord, tell me how I can be of service today, right? And being of service to everybody, not just people you like, because it's easy to be of service to people you like, but it's harder and you grow more if you're of service to somebody who might rub you the wrong way. And that, my friends, is like I'm learning in my Kabbalistic studies, that is when you grow the most. That is when you become the light. And I love being the light. I love being a servant leader. I love saying to somebody, instead of how can I help you? Because when you use the word help, they look at you and they think, oh, they're going to do it for me. But if you say, how can I be of service to you? Well, that's a little bit different. It causes somebody to open up their sphere of thinking. Because if somebody asked you, how can I be of service to you today? It kind of stops you and you have to think about, okay, what am I going to answer? So it's important for you to learn to be a servant leader, because what the world needs now is more servant leaders, not less of them. So if you focus on learning to be your servant leader that you want to be and practice this every day, you're going to get good at it. And if you like this and you have been listening to my podcast and you want to join a community of like-minded women of color and Latino women and women of all colors, actually, blue, red, white, green, orange, yellow, whatever it is, if you are a woman, a seasoned mujerpreneur, and you or somebody that wants to be a mujerpreneur, make sure to subscribe and become part of the community. I'd love to see you in the community. Also, mujeres hermosas chulas, if today's episode lit a spark inside you, and if you're feeling that nudge to step into the next level of leadership, the kind of leadership that your soul was born for, servant leadership, then make sure you grab the free leadership workbook I created just for you. You'll find the link in the show notes or in the description below. It's full of simple, powerful ways to start leading from the heart, starting today, ahora mismo. You can find it right inside my stand store if you want to see that instead. But amiga, chula, let me remind you and let me assure you that the world needs your light. And the light that you bring to the world by being a servant leader is massive. We could bring light and ignite the world if we all became servant leaders. And you can start with yourself. Your strength, your voice, and your heart is needed in the world today. Let's build a future where servant leadership or leadership means service. Let's build a future where leadership means legacy. And remember, true leadership starts when you decide, cuando tú decides servir primero, when you decide to serve first, not lead, not follow me, because a good leader doesn't create followers. A good leader, a servant leader, creates more leaders. So good. Gracias for spending time with me today. Another Wednesday of Mujer de Éxito Unbounded. This is MartiAngel, MartiAngel, your host for the Mujer de Éxito Unbounded show, saying thank you so much for being here. Until next week, stay bold, stay strong, and stay full of corazón. I'll see you next week, hermosa. I'm so incredibly grateful for each and every one of you. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Namaste.